Unveiling the Book of Giants, the tale of the offspring of fallen angels. As the flickering candlelight dances across ancient parchments, casting long shadows that whisper secrets across the ages, we are drawn into a realm where the celestial and the earthly intertwined in a drama of epic proportions. For centuries, the canonical scriptures have guided our understanding of creation, fall, and redemption. Yet, beneath the familiar narratives, there exist echoes of other stories, fragments of forgotten wisdom that hint at events far grander and more unsettling than many dare to imagine. Tonight, we embark on a journey to explore one such profound and often overlooked account, the Book of Giants. What if the very fabric of early human history was irrevocably shaped by beings born of divine transgression? What if the echoes of their monstrous existence still resonate, challenging our perceptions of good, evil, and the very nature of humanity itself? Join us as we pull back the veil on a story excised from mainstream religious discourse, a narrative that promises to reveal the extraordinary saga of the offspring of fallen angels, the seed of mystery. Deconstructing the title. Our title, Unveiling the Book of Giants, the tale of the offspring of fallen angels, sets a clear course for our exploration. Firstly, we must address the Book of Giants itself. What is this enigmatic text? What are its origins, and how did it come to be a part of the broader tapestry of ancient Jewish literature? Secondly, we will delve into the central characters, the offspring of fallen angels. Who were these beings, and what role did they play in the antediluvian world? Finally, we will piece together the tale, the narrative of their existence, their actions, and their ultimate fate, as presented in this fascinating, non-canonical work. Part 1. Introduction. Sowing the Seeds of Mystery. In the quiet hush of history, where the dust of millennia settles upon forgotten texts, there lies a narrative so profound, so startling, that it challenges the very foundations of our understanding of the primeval world. Imagine a time before the Great Flood, a time when heaven and earth seemed dangerously close, and the boundaries between the divine and the mortal were tragically breached. We speak not of myths whispered in the dark, but of ancient accounts, once revered, then relegated to the shadows of theological discourse. Tonight, our flickering candle illuminates a path to one such extraordinary, yet often overlooked, scripture, the Book of Giants. For those who have pondered the cryptic verses in Genesis about the sons of God and the Nephilim, this ancient text offers not just answers, but an expansive, dramatic narrative. It promises to unveil the untold story of these colossal beings, born of a forbidden union between rebellious watchers and human women. Prepare to journey into a forgotten era where giants roam the earth, challenging the cosmic order and setting in motion events that would forever alter the course of human destiny. Part 2. The Body. A journey of deep exploration. The historical and cultural context. Echoes from the edge of canon. To truly appreciate the Book of Giants, we must first place it within its proper historical and cultural milieu. This text, like its more famous cousin, the Book of Enoch, belongs to a rich body of intertestamental literature, writings produced between the Old and New Testaments, particularly during the Second Temple period, roughly 516 BCE to 70 CE. This era was a fertile ground for diverse theological thought and apocalyptic speculation, driven by both internal Jewish sectarianism and external pressures from empires like the Hellenistic Greeks and later the Romans. The Jewish community at this time grappled with profound questions: the nature of evil, the origin of suffering, and the ultimate destiny of humanity. Works like the Book of Giants offered compelling narratives that attempted to answer these existential queries by expanding upon terse biblical statements. While never fully accepted into the Hebrew Bible canon by Rabbinic Judaism, nor into the Protestant canon, it held significant influence among certain Jewish and early Christian groups. Crucially, fragments of the Book of Giants were discovered among the Dead Sea Scrolls at Qumran, a collection of texts that represent a diverse library of Jewish thought from the period. These discoveries provide irrefutable evidence of its antiquity and its widespread circulation and importance among some communities, particularly the Essenes, who clearly found its narratives compelling and perhaps even authoritative. This context reveals a world hungry for deeper understanding, a world where narratives of cosmic conflict and divine intervention resonated deeply with a people facing their own tumultuous historical realities. Decoding the Scripture, the forbidden union and its monstrous offspring. The core narrative of the Book of Giants expands upon the cryptic verses found in Genesis 6:1-4. When man began to multiply on the face of the land and daughters were born to them, the sons of God saw that the daughters of man were attractive, and they took as their wives any they chose. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterward, when the sons of God came in to the daughters of man, and they bore children to them. These were the mighty men who were of old, the men of renown. This passage, often a source of intense theological debate, is the launching pad for the expansive drama detailed in the Book of Giants. In this ancient text, the sons of God are identified as watchers, a class of angels who were charged with observing humanity. However, a significant number of these watchers, led by figures like Shemi-Hazza, rebelled against divine order. Seduced by the beauty of human women, they descended to earth, swore an oath on Mount Hermon, and took wives, defiling themselves and initiating a period of profound corruption. The tragic consequence of this forbidden union was the birth of the Nephilim, or giants, monstrous offspring of immense size, insatiable appetites, and violent dispositions. The Book of Giants portrays these Nephilim not merely as large men, but as destructive forces that consumed all the produce of humanity's labor, ultimately turning upon and devouring humanity itself. The text vividly describes the Watchers teaching humanity forbidden knowledge, metallurgy, cosmetics, astrology, and sorcery, further corrupting the earth and inciting violence. The giants, in particular, are depicted as dreaming prophetic dreams of destruction, recognizing their impending doom at the hands of divine judgment, specifically through a great flood. These dreams, interpreted by their Watcher fathers, reveal their fate and the coming cataclysm, creating a profound sense of despair and dread among them. This narrative is not merely an ancient monster story. It is a profound exploration of transgression, consequences, and the desperate attempts of fallen beings to avert an inevitable judgment. The hidden theological meaning, the corruption of creation, and the necessity of judgment. Beyond the dramatic narrative of angels and giants, the Book of Giants carries profound theological weight. At its heart, it offers an expansive explanation for the pervasive evil and corruption that necessitated the Great Flood. If Genesis simply states that the Lord saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, the Book of Giants provides a detailed cosmic context for that wickedness. The angelic transgression, the mixing of divine and human lineages, and the subsequent birth and actions of the giants represent a profound defilement of God's original creation. This narrative underscores the concept of divine order and the catastrophic consequences of rebellion against it. The Watchers' descent and their illicit unions are portrayed as a fundamental corruption of the created order, blurring the lines between heaven and earth in an unauthorized way. It emphasizes God's absolute sovereignty and the impossibility of escaping divine justice. The giants, despite their immense power and their father's attempts to teach them secrets, cannot escape their fate. Their terrifying dreams serve as a powerful theological statement. Even beings of immense power are ultimately subject to God's ultimate decree. The flood, therefore, is not merely an act of arbitrary destruction, but a necessary purification, a cosmic cleansing to restore the integrity of creation from the deep-seated corruption introduced by the fallen Watchers and their monstrous progeny. It speaks to a God who is both just and profoundly concerned with the holiness of his creation. Controversies and theories. The shifting sands of interpretation. Like many non-canonical texts, the Book of Giants has generated considerable controversy and diverse interpretations throughout history. One of the primary debates revolves around the identity of the sons of God in Genesis 6. While the Book of Giants and 1 Enoch clearly identifies them as angels, Other interpretations suggest they were human rulers, pious descendants of Seth, or even the progeny of intermarriage between different tribes. The angelic interpretation, however, has ancient roots and was prevalent in early Jewish and Christian thought, as evidenced by its presence in texts like Jude and 2 Peter, which allude to angels being chained for their sins. The debate over the giants themselves also continues. Were they literal physical beings of enormous stature, or were they metaphorical representations of tyrannical rulers, powerful societal forces, or even internal human wickedness? While the Book of Giants presents them as undeniably literal, a challenge to divine order, modern scholarship often seeks more allegorical or symbolic readings. Furthermore, the very reason for its exclusion from the various biblical canons remains a point of academic discussion. Some argue it was due to its elaborate mythological elements clashing with developing monotheistic theology, while others suggest it presented too many theological challenges, such as the direct involvement of angels in human procreation, which was deemed heterodox. Despite these controversies, the persistent presence of the Book of Giants in ancient manuscripts and its influence on other religious texts cannot be ignored. It forces us to confront the fluid nature of early religious thought and the diverse range of narratives that once vied for authority, reminding us that the path to canonical scripture was often complex, contested, and shaped by evolving theological understandings. Part 3. Conclusion. Eternal Echoes. Our journey through the Book of Giants has drawn us into a forgotten chapter of creation, revealing a dramatic expansion of the biblical account of the Nephilim. We have seen how this ancient text, rooted in the Second Temple period, provides a compelling, if unsettling, explanation for the widespread corruption that preceded the Great Flood. It paints a vivid picture of watchers rebelling against divine command, descending to earth, and siring a race of monstrous giants whose destructive appetites threaten to consume all of creation. The tale of these offspring of fallen angels is more than just an ancient horror story. It is a profound theological statement. It underscores the fragility of cosmic order, the gravity of angelic transgression, and the unwavering justice of a God who must act to purify his creation. As the candle dims, we are left not with simple answers, but with enduring questions. What does this narrative reveal about the persistent struggle between good and evil, visible and invisible forces that continues to shape our world? How does the story of these forgotten giants challenge us to look beyond the familiar, to consider the deeper, more complex layers of the sacred texts, and to ponder the mysterious interplay between heaven and earth, even in our own lives? Perhaps the true lesson of the Book of Giants lies in its silent admonition, that the consequences of forbidden knowledge and unchecked power reverberate through eternity, forever reminding us of the delicate balance between divine will and free will, and the everlasting call to uphold the sanctity of creation.